introduce ma'am. Before we starting of today's session, Ms. Govani ma'am hold a master's degree in regulatory affairs from KB Institute of Pharmaceutical Education and Research, where she secured the third rank across the university. She has also completed her B.Pharm and Diploma Pharmacy from a reputed institution. Currently, Ms. Palak Govani ma'am working as an assistant manager of regulatory affairs at a pharma zone. Her expertise ranges from dossier compilation in CTT formats to managing response for regulatory queries, document management, life cycle management, and training regulatory teams. She also saw with a distinction in several other roles, including the regulatory affairs manager at Adveno Pharma, project trainee at Otsuka Pharmaceutical, and senior officer at Hemley Industries. Also contributing her skills across the dossier preparations, the GLP documentations, audits, and product registration for multiple global markets. Not only is she technically sound, but she is also a skill leader, having a train and mentor teams, develop the regulatory strategies for generic and biosimilar products. Ma'am has an Employee of the Month award for her dedication. Moreover, ma'am has published articles on the CASA system by USFDA and participate in numerous regulatory webinars conducted by the ISPRA and other international body. With her rich industrial experience and up-to-date regulatory knowledge, she will bring immense value to our learning today. So once again, very warm welcome to Ms. Palak ma'am. We are truly privileged to have you as today's resource person, and also excited and grateful to hear from you, ma'am. So please, ma'am.
Yes, Palak ma'am, I have already make you presenter, so you can share your presentation.
Khushbu ma'am, can you able to see the screen?
Yes, yes. Just make it full screen. The screen is visible, ma'am.
I have done the change to full screen. Can you able to see it, or I need to change it? Yeah, is it visible?
Yes, yes, it is visible.
Okay, okay. So, very good morning to all on this beautiful Sunday morning. We are gathered here to discuss about overview of drug regulatory affairs. Before starting, thank you so much for giving this opportunity, for sharing my knowledge, and thank you so much for giving such a beautiful introduction about myself. So, before starting about regulatory affairs, can anyone tell me what they know about what is regulatory affairs? Anyone? Okay, I think we have gathered everyone in the Sunday morning. That is why they are a bit in a silent mode. That why we are studying on Sunday also. We are studying already full day of like 7 days a week, and now Sunday is also we have to study. Okay, no worries. So let us start on a lighter mode. That regulatory affairs in the layman language, we can say that we are the bridge between the authorities and the companies, right? So in current era, in current rising era, we are dealing with lots of molecules right now in the drug regulatory affairs, but But apart from that, there are lots of emerging markets which are growing and which are still on the developing stage, and which are going towards making the regulated market for biosimilars, as well as medical devices, as well as for herbal medicines. So since 2000 and I think 2015 and 16, when regulatory affairs was started on the initial stage, there were only the drug which is dealing with the regulatory affairs. Now the authorities has expanding the regulations for the medical devices, herbal markets, and biosimilars as well. So in a nutshell, I can say that regulatory has a very emerging role, and after 5 to 10 years, we can see that there are lots of expansion in the regulatory affairs. So a new calling, which is, we can say that there are lots of administrative issues, there are lots of submission related hurdles which currently industries are facing for different departments. Their regulatory comes into the place, and they have to give a pathway to the industry as per the authority, so that they submit the dossiers with respect to any of the dosage form without taking any queries, and minimization of the regulatory guidelines, and they can streamline their dosage form with smooth submissions, right? So now you all have some questions in your mind, that why regulatory affairs? There is all the data published in the common domain, in the general domain, in which you can take data directly, you can read that, and you can submit that to the authority and get the approvals. But it is not as easy as it is given in the database. So let's say we have one dosage form, one drug, which is say metformin, and we have to submit it in the US, like US FDA, which is the government authority for the US drug submissions. There, as per current GDUFA 3, GDUFA 3 is the current submission guideline, in which they have revised their dosage submission fees. That is, you can consider 1.5 crore per submissions, right? So, and in the US FDA, when you are submitting the dossier, the first stage is RTR. RTR is the full form, we can say that, refuse to review, in which there is a checklist which is provided in the US FDA guideline, and there you have to follow the checklist. And if there is a single mistake in the checklist, you will lose your 1.5 crores. I mean to say, the industry will lose the whole submission amount which is submitted, because there is no refund procedure for the US submission. So to give you this example, I'm explaining the criticality of the role of the regulatory affairs over here. You have to, and you will be the single person, or the RA department will be the single person who is responsible for keeping the product in compliance and keeping the paperwork of regulatory affairs accurate as much as with the minimal queries, so that submission will goes in the smooth purpose, and you can save your money, your company's money as well. Apart from that, we are dealing with the human safety and efficacy. So the I can say the perspective of saving money, that is the one key role from the industry perspective. But as per human perspective, we are dealing with very critical drugs, like cancerous drugs, or any other diabetes related drug, which is a critical care related products, as well as we are dealing with geriatric and pediatric dosage forms. So that is dealing directly to the human safety and efficacy, and that if we are missing any single point of single point of document which is related to that will leads to a huge loss of human. So that is why regulatory affairs is very important key role in the industry. Okay, so if anyone has any question, you can ask me directly. You can interrupt me. We will discuss on that. All right. So, why regulatory affairs? So, the pharmaceutical business and drug regulatory agencies worldwide are connected through regulatory affairs only. So,
Yes,
let us
Palak
say,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am. Slide is not changing.
Just a minute, madam. Hold on.
Okay. Yes, yes. Now it is visible. Why regulatory affairs?
Now, is it changing?
Yes, ma'am. It is why regulatory affairs. The slide is there in the PowerPoint. Why regulatory affairs?
Okay, okay. So, uh, I was saying that, say for example, if we wanted to submit the dossier in Europe, in US, or any semi-regulated markets, there is a pathway that you have to follow for the drug submissions. So, say for example, if you wanted to submit the dossier in the Portugal or in the Hungary, there should be a local person present over there who can directly communicate to the authorities, to the agencies, that there is any communication which is need to be done, that should be done by the regulatory affairs only. No any other department can directly contact to the agency for the submission purposes and for the any kind of communication with the agency. So that is why regulatory affairs personnel is very important and is the key personnel which is required for any of the industry who want to submit the dossiers in the market. So apart from that, for not for only pharmaceuticals, if I can say, for the medical device, veterinary, any of the regulatory affairs profession, the personnel is required for communication, for queries, for response handling, and for the submissions. So, as I say that importance of regulatory affairs, you should be right at the first time. Before starting of the dossier compilation, before starting of the any of regulated market, you should have particular guideline, hand to hand. So that once you will get the opportunity, you do not have to hustle with the regulatory guidelines, so that you can do the smooth submission. So you should be right at the first time. Even like there is a cycle for the submission process. If I can say, for the Europe market, there should be a 120-day cycle which is need to be followed for the Europe submission. Once you have submitted the dossier, in between the 30 to 60 days, you will get the validation queries. So once validation queries is completed, there should be a clock cycle will be stopped, and you have to review the queries and you have to submit to that. Again, clock cycle will be start, and at the 120 days you will receive the first response, and 180 days you will receive the second response, and there is a defined timeline in which you have to respond to that query. So if you do not have particular knowledge of that particular guideline, you will lack in submitting the query response, and that will delay your response, and that will leads to the rejection of the dossier. So there is the criticality of the regulatory affairs executive, that should be precise and should have significant knowledge of the product as well as the submission pathways. Right. Either occurrence may lead to the loss of several million. As I say that, from marketing perspective, you will lose lots of the amount, and that is reduce the company's output, and that is reduce the company's overall, because once if you are submitting first to file, if you are submitting IND submission, that requires lots of background work, that requires 10 to 15 years of development, and if it will rejected by the authority, so the whole will impact on the company's net worth. Regulatory affairs section of the pharmaceutical business is in large supervising the approval maintenance process, obtaining authorization for the new pharmaceutical, medical, and treatments. Right. So once you have a knowledge of product, you have that scenario in the mind that should be made to the consumer standards and the international laws as well, because once you are going with the mindset that you are only saving the money, you are only benefiting the company, then that is also the no, that is also not the role of regulatory affairs. You have to think with consumer perspectives also. If there is some kind of excipients which is used in the formulation, which is with high amount of the procurement, then the same standard, the same excipient is can be used and it can be replaced by that that excipient. That should be, that suggestion should be given by the regulatory affairs department also. So in that case, I can say that regulatory affairs can involve in development part also, and they can, as per their intelligence, can provide suggestion to the company that by using this formulation or by using competing this formulation, you can produce a cheaper as well as if cost effective product which is helpful for the consumers as well. So that is also one of the objective of the regulatory affairs professionals. Apart from that, once your product is in the market, there your role is not completed. You have to continuously evolve in the regulations. You have to continuously check that is there any new scenario, new criterias which is available in the authority, which is additionally we have to comply. As for example, I can say that currently nitrosamine risk assessment is a huge burning issue that dealing with every agency, that they have to submit a nitrosamine risk assessment report. Why? Because in the year of 2018 and 19, the certain product which is produced and there is a cancerous effect which is due to the nitrosamine byproduct which is developed in the formulation. So that is why currently Canada has also introduced the nitrosamine risk assessment guideline, which is previously implemented by Europe and US as well. So that thought process also need to be placed, that you should be aware that what is the current guidelines and that needs to be complied with the dossier. Pharmaceutical industries RA division is in charge of getting approvals, as we have already discussed, that approvals of new pharmaceutical medicines, approval of maintenance procedure. Now, vast role of regulatory affairs are there. New submissions has been done. Now you have to come in the queries part, where once your dossier is approved, then the query response also need to be submitted and to meet the timeline. You have to be very vigilant in your role. Then some technologies and strategic directions to the quality control research and development. Say for example, currently when we are developing omeprazole is the kind of molecule which is very critical in the perspective of the dissolution. So where you have to, like, dissolution is the criticality factor for the development, where you can suggest to the companies that you can use the dissolution apparatus with the latest technology, which can improve the dissolution of the omeprazole. Apart from that, you can use the F2 value calculator if your dissolution ratio is below 85% in the 15 minutes. There you have to implement the various type of tools that is used for similarity factor measurements. So that is also the regulatory RA professionals' role, that they provide this kind of suggestions. So these are the different roles where you can indulge into the development as well as into the approvals and get your inputs and improve the submission process. Now this I have already discussed, but still to sum up, I can say that Regulatory is the core and connecting department for each and every sub-department. Say, for example, quality control, from where you can gather the documents like analytical method validations, then the method procedures, the dissolution data, then other impurity assessments that all need to be gathered from the quality control. For quality assurance perspective, the specifications as well as the PDR report as well as the you can say different kind of subsections which is need to be submitted like M4, M5 clinical and non-clinical overviews. These all documents you can gather from the quality assurance department. From packaging department, you can take a specifications of the primary and secondary packaging materials, then method of analysis, then BPRs, then BMRs. These all data will be gathered from these all departments. Research and development, where you can take the dosage from perspective documents. Say, for example, you are submitting a co-packaging document in which the primary packaging material would be submitted like syringes and needles. So the accuracy and precision study data, then filter reachable acceptable study, these all data can be gathered from the from different departments, and that is submitted to the RA department, and they will submit this to the dossiers. Now, these all things which we have discussed, that is all about the manufacturing department. Just a minute, hold on. Now, the role of RA professionals in CROs. So, regulatory can be work in different departments as well. If you are working in the clinical research, then your role would be totally different from the manufacturing department. Their preclinical studies and clinical trials has been taken care, and that whole bunch of clinical trials that is based on the identification of toxicity and safety level in each and every molecules, and that should be maintain the safety efficacy of the drug product. So that is the main role of RA professionals when you are working in the CRO. So after completion of the clinical trials, the whole data will be evaluated from RA professionals itself, and they have to know that what is the investigator's role, what is the sponsor's role, how many sites are identified for the clinical trials, what kind of data, how many batches has been taken for clinical trials, what are the COAs that have been submitted. If you are going for the BABE studies, then BABE study data, what is the model which has been taken for BABE studies. This whole results to the company's main business. That is one of the perspective that is we need to take care as a RA professional, which we are working in the R&D. Recruiting changeable clinical trial participants, giving up quick regulatory approvals, avoiding process dangers can also help to hasten the development of new products while reducing costly errors and time lags. That is whole scenario which is need to be in the mind of RA professionals where they are dealing with the dossier submissions. Now, organizational structure of regulatory affairs is defined by these five types. First is global regulatory affairs. Second is regional regulatory affairs. Then third is local one. Fourth is manufacturing side. And fifth is drug agency regulatory affairs. So apart from all these five structural sections, the fifth one is not handled from India. Why? Because drug agency regulatory affairs is need to be present in specific agencies local area, and there they have to represent the company and they have to communicate with the agency. Say for example, for US FDA, US agent should be there in the US region only. Then that can become agent, and that is comes under the drug agency regulatory affairs. Manufacturing side regulatory affairs, that is also called as plant RA. There they can gather the data from the plant and submit to the corporate RA, or you can say the R&D RA person. Then they will submit the dossier to the specific agency. Local regulatory affairs, that is same as you can say that specific person who is dealing for the specific region. So that is called as local regulatory. Regional regulatory and global regulatory affairs, that are you can consider that region wise they are divided. Some of the regulatory affair person is dealing with the ROW markets. Some of the person you dealing with the US and Europe market, and they all comes under umbrella of global regulatory affairs, who is dealing with like that is the head of the RA department, who is dealing with all the regions. And these are the specific criteria that is structured. Now, organizational structure of regulatory affairs, that is in a continuation. What is the role? That is regulatory strategy before starting of the submission. Then planning and addressing critical development issues, that is which we have already discussed in the manner of omeprazole, that they can give us suggestions, which is dynamic and changes during the process. Plan of how to register a product in the global market. There should be a plan. There should be a life cycle management need to be in place before starting the submission to the global market, because there is a defined criteria, defined timeline, defined amount, which is very important, and deviation of that leads to a huge cost. Plan how to balance time and cost and human resources. Skills. Now, this is the very important part of the slide. Skills and attributes which is required. First is you should have basic knowledge of IT literate. We can say that is a computer. You know how to work with, how to play with MS Word, how to play with Adobe Acrobat Reader, Adobe Acrobat Pro. That is the main thing which the RA skill you required. Second is you have to work independently, because in the, if we can say, in the other department there is a defined SOPs, there is a defined criteria that you need to follow, and you have to work monotonously. But here in RA, you have to expand your role. You have to think out of box. You have to directly search to the search engine. You have to go into the website, and you have to check the guidelines, and you have to be updated by yourself. That is the work independently. Accuracy, whatever knowledge you have as per your guideline, that should be accurate. You should be confident that what you have provided, that is 100% sure and accurate. Effective negotiator. Effective negotiator is the role when you are dealing with a development team, because you when you are submitting anything to any of the team, your rationale should be there, your evaluation should be proper, and you should be properly communicate to the department that these are the important key factors. If you will not follow these, there will be leads to the rejection. Quality, present quality. So once you have taken some data from the one guideline, you have taken second data from the third guideline, you have taken from the third data from the third line, that is become known of everyone, master of none. So that does not work in the regulatory. Whatever you have studied, you should be precise in the guideline, and you should become with the rationale that this is the thing that is known as the quality of work. Excellent writing and communication skills, because the guidelines which provided in the open forum, that is only the CTD structure. So how to how to represent the data which is given in the dossier, that is also the skill, writing skill which is need to be done. Otherwise, miscommunication will happen in the dossier, and that is also leads to RTR or rejection. Listen actively when you are dealing with the submissions, when you are discussing with your local agent or you are discussing with the interdepartment. There you have to listen properly that what is given and what they want to expect from you and what they want you to submit. That is need to be done by listening actively. Interpret and consolidate the data. So the data which has been given, which is provided, that is need to be very concise and consolidate. You do not have to submit the whole BMR, the whole BPR in the case of US. In the case of Europe, sorry, in the case of US, you have to submit the BMR and BPR as well. But while you are dealing with Europe, you do not have to submit the BMR. The crisp of the BMR, the manufacturing process, that is need to be extract out in the Europe, and you have to redefine that process in your dossier. So that is the skill is required. Strong follow-up and convincing ability. Why? Because you have to meet the timeline. Once you are communicating with the department and they are saying that the process validation will be complete on the month end of the August, and your submission is in the starting of the August, then that will not work. In that case, you have to follow up to the manufacturer that this is my timeline and you should be giving it, you should give the data before the 15 days of the timeline, because you also require the review period for that timeline. So that is why that strong follow-up is also required, and you should be convinced that see, this is the background and this is the thing which is I'm representing you, that is right, and that is given in the authorities guidelines. So that is why you also have to follow that. Technical sound knowledge, the product knowledge is also required, where as I can say that based on the dosage form, the dossier will be different. There should be a different dossier for different dosage form. If you are dealing with a solid oral dosage form, then there should be a BABE study data which is required. If you are dealing with the injectable dosage form, that should be going directly into the systemic circulation. So BABE study is not required. In injectable, sterile package is required, where in the solid oral dosage form, dissolution is very important. So these